Hello and welcome to Forever Sports for today's weekend preview of the first round. Continued really because there was a couple of clashes, but it is the proper first round of the Autumn Nations series and a couple of absolutely mouth-watering clashes in store for us, as well as for Springbok fans, a return for Bok action this Sunday when we take on Scotland. A couple of war of words between Andre Esterhuizen and Scotland, talking about the fact that he would rather play 18 tests for the Boks than 78 tests for any other nation. So stoking the fires, really, in terms of the Scotland second-born players basically having a bit of a go at them. But we're going to be basically looking at the fixtures, looking at some of the side stories and some of the sort of maybe the predictions as well. We're going to be doing a short video tomorrow in terms of our quick-fire predictions for the weekend as well. So keep an eye out on that. For that to come out a bit later. But before we get into it, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Right, let's have a look. Tomorrow it all starts with an absolute belter of a clash. Ireland taking on New Zealand at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. It's not an ideal time, but I suppose if you ever need a reason to have a great Friday night, then watching, the two best teams in the world, play rugby, then that is one of them. And Ireland and New Zealand, well, we know the kind of the recent history where Ireland have actually had quite a good record against New Zealand until it really mattered. And that is in the World Cup final, quarterfinal last year, where it was a massive, letdown for Ireland, who were one of the World Cup favourites to have gone down in that game. The big reaction between Rico Wani, Johnny Sexton, sort of fueling the fire. So we expect to see a really, really big clash. And if you look at the teams, just talent on talent, such a good Irish side. It's a New Zealand side that's looking better. I think they weren't necessarily at their best last weekend against England, but a very improved performance. So I think that they're starting to look a lot better. And I think that tomorrow night, if both teams really pitch up, we could be in for an all-timer. Genuinely, I think there could be that much quality. But also some other nice games. So on Saturday, England versus Australia. England desperate for a response after losing to New Zealand. And it was a big performance from England. And I think, the big worry is that because they had to lift themselves so much for that game and create sort of that energy, that kind of performance, will they be able to replicate that intensity against an Australian side who we haven't seen so far in a few weeks? I think took a few steps forward, from during the Rugby Championship under Joe Schmidt. But I think this Autumn Nations will be a big opportunity for him to take big strides. This is really the last opportunity to really prepare them for the British and Irish Lions series next year. So for the English players, some of them, for example, will be looking to try and put their hands up for British and Irish Lions selection. And for the Australians, get an opportunity to understand what some of the players they will be playing against are going to be like. But I think the main thing here is that England, they've got to put a big performance. And Australia, we will keep waiting for that sort of breakthrough result. That one game, for example, where you kind of sit up and you think, oh, actually, Joe Schmidt's onto something here. Like he's getting them playing well. And this could be that kind of game. Italy versus Argentina. You expect Argentina to get the job done here, although Italy, as we know, are ever improving. And two very exciting teams with the ball in hand. They like to play nice rugby. I think Argentina, the way that Felipe Contemporary got them playing, especially towards that stage of the Rugby Championship, is very, very exciting. So we'll wait to see exactly the kind of response and whether they continue that. But I think this should be quite an open game. I think it's both teams who on attack can be very good, but sometimes can be a bit porous on defense. So it could lend itself to a bit of a high-scoring game as well. Then we've got France versus Japan. Don't expect too much of Japan here, I don't think. I think it's a very good French side playing at home at Stade de France. It's the Brave Blossoms for a reason, but I don't think they're going to get too much resistance really to France. And France, a bit quiet this year. Obviously, they kind of generally send a second string side over in sort of the outgoing series for them. But it's this alternation series where often they put in some pretty big results ahead of the Six Nations. Then Sunday we have got Wales taking on Fiji. And Fiji were quite a weakened side last week with the game being outside the test window. So you expect to be them being a lot stronger than they potentially were. And Wales, again, a bit of a project from Warren Gatland. There's good players in this Wales squad. There's exciting players. It's where they can sort of put it all together and make count on the day. That's what we're still waiting to see. And this weekend is a big opportunity for them against decent opposition, but not, world-class top 5 in the world opposition, to try and get a result, build a bit of momentum ahead of that South African game in 2 weeks' time. And then finally on Sunday evening, Scotland versus South Africa. It's always an interesting game because there's obviously a lot of ex-Saffers playing for Scotland. Duan van der Merwe, who's continuing to score tries for free for fun. And a South African side, which we expect to be very strong. So Finn Russell will be back for Scotland as well, so he'll add a lot to that side. You do expect the Boks to, in theory, win this quite comfortably, but we wait to see exactly what kind of Bok team it is going to be announced. And expect it to be very strong, but maybe a couple of surprises. Scotland, I think they're a side which I think it's time for them to soon stop being, that other, you've got England who are always usually quite competitive in the Six Nations, they had bad Six Nations this season, but, Scotland have had one over England for a while. But when it comes to World Cups, for example, England often pitch up. You've got Ireland and France who've been the two dominants in the Six Nations. And Scotland's always that like weird sort of very talented team, but nobody really takes them seriously. And I think they've got it in them to be a top four side in the world. I genuinely do. I think they've got some of the players. I think that Sio Tuipulotu, Hugh Jones, are world-class centre combination. They've got two world-class wings in Duane van der Merwe and Darcy Graham. Finn Russell, when he's playing at his best, is a really good player. So I think as soon as they get that pack right, Scotland have got everything as I'm concerned, to be a top side. So I really hope that they offer a lot of resistance to the Boks and it's not a walkover game. But some very nice rugby over the weekend. Really is the Autumn Nation Series back in full force. Which game are you excited for? Let me know down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. We'll be live for Ireland versus New Zealand. We'll be live for England versus Australia. We'll be live for Scotland versus South Africa as well, and potentially a couple of other ones as well. So just keep an eye on the channel for the official schedule. But until then, my name is Steve. Keep well, keep safe. I'll chat to you soon.